Tommy Robinson records tense police encounter. Sadiq Khan faces public scrutiny. You're not going to believe what just happened on the streets of London. While politicians were holding press briefings and congratulating themselves on a safer, more inclusive capital, a video surfaced online that has once again turned public attention towards Sadiq Khan's policing strategy. It wasn't a news anchor. It wasn't a hidden camera. It was Tommy Robinson, phone in hand, streaming live, standing directly in front of London police officers in a public square, and asking questions they clearly weren't ready to answer. And now the internet is watching every frame. The confrontation happened just outside a high-traffic transport hub this past weekend, an area frequently monitored by police during protest season. Robinson, known for his street-level commentary and heated exchanges with law enforcement, spotted a group of Met officers detaining two young men holding signs related to political speech and free expression. What started as a simple filming session turned into a tense back and forth that's now making waves across social media and sparking a new round of public debate. The entire interaction lasted about 7 minutes. But those 7 minutes were enough. In the clip, Robinson calmly walks toward the officers, camera rolling, and says, "Excuse me, under what law are you detaining him? He's standing there with a sign. That's not illegal. Do you know what Article 10 of the Human Rights Act says?" One officer tries to deflect, saying the situation is under investigation, but avoids specifics. Robinson presses again. "You're doing this in the name of safety, but what you're really doing is shutting people up. Who gave you the order?" "City Hall." "Khan." Silence. The officers eventually ask Robinson to step back, but the video had already done its job. Millions were watching. Now let's break this down. On its surface, it's just a citizen controversial or not questioning police conduct. But the timing couldn't be more explosive. Just days earlier, London Mayor Sadiq Khan publicly praised the Met Police's professionalism in managing a series of disruptive protests, where a handful of demonstrators were removed under new safety protocols. He defended those actions as a necessary step to ensure the well-being of all Londoners. But what this new footage shows is a growing disconnect between official narratives and real-world policing. And once again, the public is asking, is this really about safety or is it about control? Reaction online came fast and loud. One user on X wrote, "We're watching the slow death of public freedom. If this is how they treat people holding signs, what's next?" Another shared the video with the caption, "Sadiq Khan says protests are protected. This footage says otherwise." Even mainstream commentators are starting to weigh in. On Talk TV, political analyst Dominic Samuels said, "This isn't about liking or disliking Tommy Robinson. This is about accountability. If the police can't explain their actions, and politicians won't question them, something's broken." Meanwhile, on LBC, a caller from South London made this chilling point. "My mum remembers the 80s when protests meant something. Today, you speak up, and suddenly you're being filmed, flagged, followed. That's not democracy. That's intimidation." Of course, not everyone agrees with Robinson's framing. Critics argue that filming police confrontations can escalate tension and create misleading narratives. Others say his past actions and affiliations discredit him as a voice for public freedom. But even his harshest opponents are acknowledging the footage raises real questions. Questions that Sadiq Khan and City Hall are now under pressure to answer. So far, Khan's team has remained measured. A brief statement from the mayor's office reads, "The Met Police operate independently and within the law. The mayor continues to support lawful protest and is committed to ensuring public safety is upheld without bias." But as critics are pointing out, there's a difference between lawful protest and convenient protest. Because what the footage appears to show is targeted enforcement, vague detentions, and officers unable or unwilling to explain their own decisions. That doesn't inspire confidence. That raises alarms. Here's the bigger picture. This isn't just about one incident. It's about growing public distrust in the balance between safety and freedom, particularly under Sadiq Khan's leadership. We've seen the online harms push. We've seen protest licenses tightened. We've seen protesters labeled extremists for holding placards outside government buildings. And now, we're seeing the police being confronted in real time and struggling to respond. So where does this go next? Will the Met Police issue a clarification? Will Parliament question the use of new public safety guidelines? Will the mayor be asked to comment directly on the footage? Or will it be buried under the weight of the next news cycle? Because here's what people are starting to realize. When leaders talk about protecting democracy, they need to be just as vocal when someone pulls out a camera and asks uncomfortable questions. Especially if they're doing it legally, peacefully, and in the name of public accountability. And the question remains, if filming the police is now controversial, what does that say about the state of freedom in Britain? What happens next may answer that. Stay alert. Stay aware. This story isn't over yet.